I took this week to catch up on some novels I've been wanting to read, so I'm not quite ready to review Grimwood City for Easy D6 just yet. But this past week, Cypher Unlimited Spriggs, who is one of the founders of that fantastic Discord community and matching Twitch channel, put together a list of his top 10 Monte Cook products. And that got me thinking, how would I rank the Monte Cook Games products that I've used? Let's roll it. A few things to note before I begin. First, this list is not limited to books. I include both books I've read and accessories that I've used at the table, so it's more of Monte Cook Games products that I own. Second, books that I have not yet finished reading do not appear on this list. Even if I think they're going to bump some of the other products off in the future, it just doesn't feel right to include them yet because I haven't gotten all the way through the material. Third, I don't think any of these products are bad no matter where they appear on the list because I really enjoy Monte Cook Games products. With all that out of the way, let's take a look. A lot of folks combine Numenera Destiny with Numenera Discovery because they come in a box set. That's how they're most often sold. But I'm splitting them up for this review. I also realize that some folks might be upset to see Destiny ranked in 10th place, but hear me out, folks. For me, and this is just for me, Numenera Destiny just didn't hit the right notes. It focuses on things like settlement building, salvaging, and crafting items. And I know folks who love that sort of game. It just doesn't happen to be the style of play to which I'm drawn. A lot of old school games, for example, tend to transfer high level play to things like stronghold building, and I don't think I'd enjoy running that as an aspect of play, so I tend to avoid that in general. But don't get me wrong, the crafting and salvaging systems in Numenera Destiny, they are well thought out and they are presented with clarity. So if I was ever going to do it, I would be able to do it well. They just don't happen to be concepts which excite me as much as a game master, and that's why this book comes in at number 10 on my list. I picked up No Thank You Evil at PAX Unplugged in 2023, and I do not regret getting it. This was the first RPG I played with my youngest, and he loves it. The box comes with everything you need to play, and the game is tiered to grow in complexity as the table gets older. And the default setting of Storia that comes with the game, it's just fantastic. It's so goofy and odd, and I do love it. The mechanics are so simple that we've even played it while he's in the bath. We just use Siri to pick random numbers for us, and it works out very well. But even with the tiered levels of play, I felt he outgrew the game pretty fast. He's just having more fun with other RPGs at the moment, and that's why it comes in at 9th spot. Still really good if you got young kids, though. I run my Numenera table Theater of the Mind, so having the creature artwork with me in a way that I can flip it up and show my players really quick is really useful. It's really helpful for the players to get into the concept of the game. And then for me, having the stat block in a handy format on the back of the card, that's really useful. And I plan on using the creature deck more in the future, but I've gone several sessions now without remembering to break it out, and it's not slowed down gameplay one bit. So maybe it's not as useful as I thought, at least for the time being anyway. As I begin working on my own adventures in Numenera's 9th World, however, I see this one moving up in rank. It's just too useful to stay in its current position. Godforsaken is one of 2 Monte Cook Games books that got sent to me as review copies, and I'm very grateful to the company for them. Godforsaken is filled with some great advice on designing a fantasy campaign which matches a table's desires, including a great essay on constructing hazards using Cypher System's level system. It is fantastic. It also lays out different ways to handle magic in the game, describes how different character types can be built, and contains a rather cool fantasy campaign setting that is called, as you might guess, Godforsaken. This is a great book, and if I were running a straight fantasy campaign using Cypher System at the moment, I'd probably have it higher in the ranking. The Numenera Cypher deck might be the most useful Monte Cook Games accessory I will ever purchase. For those who may not know, ciphers are single-use items which players are able to activate in order to impact the game world, and they can be powerful. But they're also meant to be used. You don't store them for a safe moment because a game master is encouraged to make new ciphers available to the players on a regular basis. This concept sometimes rubs old school players the wrong way because it feels to them like it's too video gamey, but I love how ciphers can make a situation go gonzo at pretty much any moment. They are fun. The only problem with ciphers is that giving out new ones from the book during a play session can be a bit of a pain. There's a table to roll on, and then it has to be described to the player, and then the player needs to write down what the impact is and what effect it has on the game world, and it can all get a bit tedious. With my Numenera Cypher deck, however, I have a nice mix of options from which players can draw on to create their own ciphers. 2 cards get drawn. The first determines the device type, and the second contains several effects which can be chosen to apply to this particular cipher. My table embraces the randomness, and we utilize die rolls to determine which effect that cipher has. It is a blast to use at the table because the players get excited by the process, and I don't have to stop gameplay while the information gets jotted down because I can just hand the card to the appropriate player and they take care of that for me. My only 2 complaints about the deck are that now I want more of the Cypher decks to draw from, so Monte Cook Games is turning me into a deck goblin, which I'm not sure I am embracing at this point, but it's probably going to happen. And I also wish that every player had their own deck to use so we could spread the fun out just a little bit more. But the Cypher deck for Numenera, really, really cool. Why on earth would I have the Cypher System rulebook ranked at 5? It's a game I love. It should have a higher ranking than this. And in some respects, yeah, but to be honest, hitting the abilities chapter was a little bit like running full speed into a support pillar at a subway station. If you are a Philadelphia sports fan, you can probably picture what that looks like because we have video. Cypher's a genre-less system, so it can be set up to do just about anything. Therein lies the problem. Because it can do pretty much anything, the list of abilities is huge. Huge to the point of being near overwhelming. Now, I grant you, most players aren't going to read through all 105 pages of the abilities chapter, nor should they. But I did when I was doing my review of the game. It was long, and it was made particularly long because more than a few of the abilities are genre dependent, but have the same in-game effect as similar abilities which are tied to other genres. I just feel like these could all have been abstracted just a little bit more to combine similar skills across game types. But please, I'm saying that I'm running into a wall in the abilities chapter. Don't misunderstand me. The Cypher System rulebook is not a bad product. It is very good. The artwork is terrific. The layout is wonderful. And the advice for creating different types of games using the Cypher System is fantastic. It's just that because of the way the book is designed, deliberately so, it's a bit like reading an encyclopedia. It's not bad, but it's not really exciting either. The Strange is wonky, cool, and weird. It's also the other book Monte Cook Games was kind enough to send me as a review copy, so I am very grateful for it. But how else can I describe The Strange? So if the Cypher System is a genreless encyclopedia which allows a GM to make any kind of world they want, The Strange is the setting which asks, well, why are you going to limit your campaign to only one type of world? See, in The Strange, players travel to different recursions. Some are the size of continents, others might only be a single city block or even a single room, but they all seem to be created as manifestations of human stories, for the most part anyway. There's a couple that are different. When characters go to a different recursion, they even get translated, taking on different aspects of their own personality by shifting the character's design. Because of this, The Strange is a genre-bending game like no other. A campaign can take characters through an interconnected story that crosses as many different genres as a GM can think up, or even into pseudo-space travel if they voyage out into The Strange itself. This book, The Strange, is a world builder's dream. I think if I was running The Strange instead of Numenera right now, I'd have it ranked a bit higher. So why would I rank the Ninth World Bestiary, a monster book, so high? Because it's awesome. The essays describing how to build creatures for the Ninth World are well written, and the characters themselves take the oddness of the Ninth World and put it on full display. I love it. I devoured this book when I first purchased it, and several of the creatures contained in its pages appeared in the first adventure on which my group went. The creature descriptions are creepy, and the breadth of creature types is terrific. The artwork in particular is wild. It's a book I very much enjoyed, and I recommend it to anyone who is running Numenera. When I read Numenera Discovery, I knew I would have to run this game. The simplicity of Cypher's mechanics combined with the incredible Ninth World setting make it a joy to explore. I've been running Numenera for just about a year, and the players love it. They love the sci-fi fantasy mashup, the oddness of the world, the cool abilities they have, and the game's simple mechanics. They've taken to all of it. For me, I love Discovery's artwork, the writing, the layout, and its lore. See, while you have The Strange, which is a book which lays out a practical way to use Cypher System's genreless concept to do anything in a campaign, Numenera Discovery distills the game system down to a single genre in an elegant way, and I appreciate it for that. If you enjoy a mashup between traditional fantasy and science fiction in your role-playing games, look no further than Numenera Discovery. It is brilliant. This one might have fans of Monte Cook Games shaking their head a little bit because it's lesser known than some of their other products, but the origin hits the beats I adore in my games. It's got mysterious organization, strange powers, conspiracies, and the prospect of a world gone mad. The origin takes elements from things like the X-Files, Fringe, and Heroes, and then sets them in a sandbox and tells them, "You all play together nicely now." And it does. The result is a super-powered setting filled with mood, danger, and secrecy. It's great. I love this book and the world it lays out. And as soon as I'm able, I'm going to lead some folks into it. And the adventures in the book, which I'll probably run through eventually, they serve as story beats which are similar to the 3 acts of a movie. And they're a terrific introduction to the setting. So I cannot wait to help folks experience it. The Origin, that's my #1 pick right now, just because I enjoyed it so much. So there's my countdown of the 10 Monte Cook Games products I've either read or used at the table. Now I've got 3 more physical MCG books that I'm reading at the moment. Numenera Explorer's Keys, Claim the Sky, which is superheroes, and Rust and Redemption, which is their post-apocalyptic genre book. I've also got a ton of PDFs that I picked up through a recent Humble Bundle, including cool books like Predation and The Stars Are Fire. I am looking forward to delving into all of these books and seeing how my list changes as a result. So that's my list. What are your favorite Monte Cook Games products? Leave a comment below to let me know. On the review side of things, I'm just about finished my read-through of Grimwood City for EZD6 and hope to have that review written by the end of this week. After that, I'll jump into Dark Places and Demogorgons for Old School Essentials, followed by Pendragon. I am really looking forward to jumping into my first Chaosium game with that book. I'll also be having Ron from the Philly Area Gaming Expo on the channel on August 9th, along with my friend Dave from Gamers on Games. So I hope you can all surf in for that. And until we see each other again, folks, happy playing, everyone.